Well, hello, Young and the Restless Daily Recap fans. Today's recap is for Thursday, July 14th. Thursday, July 14th. To me, not a lot happened today. We had some conversation with between Noah and Allie. Uh, I think I'll get back to them. We had conversation between Sharon and Tracy. It's so interesting how Tracy is such a sounding board and she gives such great advice because Sharon is a little bit worried, of course, that Noah doesn't have direction and he may want to leave town again because she overheard, he and Allie talking, saying that, she asked him, had you told your father that we'll be leaving New Hope. So Sharon is worried about that. And she did, go talk to Noah after Allie left. And he goes, okay, so you overheard, but don't say anything. He wants to talk to Nick himself. Plus, he's not leaving like right at this moment. So she agreed, not to say anything. And then we had conversations between Adam and Sally. They were finishing up their conversation at the office. And then, of course, they ended up taking it to her hotel room. But he was telling her he was going to do everything in his power. He was going to go to Victoria to make sure Victoria keeps her in the position. So I am so surprised that Adam did not out and out tell Victoria that, you know what, keep Sally in the position. Even as little as a year, just give her a year to prove herself. You give her a year, oh, I promise you, I won't come back. I won't even have an interest in the company. And Victoria would jump at that. Anything to completely get Adam out of the family company, she would love it. But he ends up telling Victoria that, he and Sally won't be together because Victoria's like, look, Sally's allegiance is to you. And I need people loyal to me, which Sally's allegiance is to Adam. So uh, she goes, and you're seeing her, and he's like, well, that's not going to be an issue. And Victoria's kind of like, oh, really? And he's like, yes, that he was ending it with Sally. So Sally would be able to fly on her own merits. So we will see what Victoria actually has to say about that. I don't know if she buys it, we shall see. But then they had a cute little scene before Sharon talked to Noah. He was talking to Allie, and that's where she overheard. But he actually asked her out to dinner to celebrate her orientation. Okay, orientation, not first paycheck or first real day on the job, orientation. So she agrees, and it's like, oh my goodness, it's a date. So she says, well, give me some time to go home and get dressed and I'll meet you there. And he goes, well, no, I want to do the gentleman thing. I'll pick you up. So she's happy. She goes home, and Tracy was trying to find out how did her first date, how did the orientation go? And she was all bubbly, saying, oh, I'm sorry, I want to tell you all about it, but Noah had asked her out, and Tracy was like, oh, and I see you're very excited about that. We could talk about Jabot business anytime. I won't hold you up. So she goes upstairs and puts on one of the dresses Summer gives her, one of the designer dresses. She looked really cute, nice and summery. And Noah shows up at the door with his little puppy dog eyes, And Tracy doesn't hold him up too long, so they leave and they go to society. Well, who's at society but Nick and Victor? So Noah's like, oh, great. My father and my grandfather. And Allie's like, well, do you want to go somewhere else? And he's like, no, but we need to go say hello first before we get our table far away from them. So they go over and they say their hellos, and he introduced Allie to Victor, and he's like, oh, you're Jack Abbott's granddaughter, blah, blah, blah. So Nicholas, they said, hey, we haven't told your grandfather the good news. And Noah's like, oh, no. And he goes, yeah, Noah's taking over New Hope. And he goes, oh, by the way, bud, I have some stuff that has important stuff that needs to get done, pretty much ASAP. I'm going to forward all that over to you. And Noah's like, oh, okay, great. Just send it to me. I'll make sure it gets done. And with no enthusiasm, but he was hiding the fact that he's leaving. So it's like, okay, I'll get it done. And Nick doesn't even bother really looking at his son, right? Body language tells everything. So he and Allie, they go over to the table and they're sitting down, and they're kind of looking at the menu, but you could clearly see on Noah's face. And Allie was kind of saying, is there something, well, for one, I noticed you kind of hesitated when your father was giving you more work. Why didn't you say something? He goes, well, now's not the place or the time, because look, you don't want to tell Nick and Victor something at the same time. No, divide and conquer. Okay. So, but just to kind of, he's looking down, like in this shot here, glancing at his menu, but it's like the weight of the world is on his shoulders with this. He doesn't know how to let his father down. So, I mean, it's going to need to happen. Otherwise, he's going to make some big blunder of a mistake. And Nick will wonder, why didn't you just tell me from the beginning? Which, you're an adult, Noah, tell your father. But anyway, to me, the most interesting chain of events was Ashlyn Locke. They finished the conversation with him walking into Victoria's office with Victor sitting on the couch. And of course, first her look was kind of a shock. And then she goes, I'm surprised you showing your face here. And he's like, well, he had some business to take care of. He wanted to get the rest of his stuff that she had. And she's looking like, okay, you could have had anybody, sent anyone to come get your stuff. It's already locked up in a storage unit. I will text you the information on how to get your stuff. And okay, that should be it. And Victor's like, no, get out of here, Ashlyn Locke. To that effect, Victor has to say your first and last name. And Ashlyn says, yes, he really kind of wanted a favor from them. And Victoria's like, wait, what could you possibly want us to do? And Victor's like, as if I would do a favor for you, Ashlyn Locke. And Ashlyn has the nerve to say, I want to say goodbye to Harrison. And Victor, since you orchestrated the restraining order, I need you to, call the judge and have it amended so that actually released so that I could say goodbye to Harrison. And Victor's like, for one, why would I ever do that? You're a danger to the board. No, that's not going to happen. And in my mind, I'm thinking, and if it ever did happen, I could tell you exactly what Ashlyn would do with Harrison. He would take off with him, period. Take off with Harrison, and Kyle would spend just as many years looking for Harrison as Jack years ago spent all those years looking for Kyle when Diane left with him and, changed Kyle's name, had him living under an assumed name and the whole shebang. It took Jack years to find him. Okay. So that could kind of be the future for Harrison, because for some reason, we all know the writers tend to write things in circles. So we shall see what happens there. But Ashlyn gets back to his hotel room and he looks through the stuff he had out of storage. There's 3 boxes on this turned over couch in this picture, or love seat. And he sees this box with this ring that Victoria had commissioned for him with a family crest emblem for the name Locke, even though it wasn't his real given name, but she felt he earned it. And this could be, kind of like the start of a family crest, a family tradition. He could pass it down, to his next generation. But he actually, surprisingly to me, Ashlyn started crying. I was like, okay, I guess he really did fall in love with Victoria, probably for the first time in his life, you know? So once he snapped himself out of all those tears, then the rage came in. He throws a glass against the wall. He throws a canister of alcohol against the fireplace. He messes up a tray, a tray that held some glass on it, a glass tray. And then he comes over to the love seat and turns the love seat over. Oh, he's in a rage, making all kind of noises, right? As if the hotel can't hear all this, and security's not called. But anyway, then he goes over to the fireplace and knocks the pokers over onto the ground. And right there is where he's walking away, going to the closet. And I'm thinking, what's he doing? He takes his clothes and he throws them on the ground. Okay. Then he goes and gets his suitcases and he throws them on top of his clothes. He is so mad. And I'm like, okay, well, what good is that really going to do you? You got this stuff all on the ground with some broken glass that's all over the place, but he is so upset. So now I think we're going to start to see a truly, truly vicious side of Ashlyn Locke. That is going to be coming up next. And hey, let's let the summer funds begin, right? What was your favorite scene from today's Young and the Restless? What did you like? What didn't you like? Please give a thumbs up to this video, subscribe to this YouTube channel, and also ring that notification bell so you can get notified every time I do a YNR daily recap. I will be back tomorrow. Let's hope Cliffhanger Friday. Let's hope it's good. We will talk then.